知らない天井だ。お？
カイン、お母さんのことわかる？
お母さん？
カイン様。
え、これ誰？
大丈夫？大丈夫じゃないよ。誰？
Our story begins with a boy named Kazuya walking to a store when suddenly he notices a violent robber chasing people out. Seeing this, Kazuya is about to run for his life but notices two girls struggling. He jumps at the robber to protect them but gets stabbed in the process. Kazuya is happy about the fact that he saved those girls despite making them cry afterward. Moments later, Kazuya wakes up in a fancy bedroom. Assuming he's in a private hospital room, Kazuya gets up only to see a maid Sylvia starting to tear up, calling him Master Cain. Soon his mother arrives, but Kazuya starts to freak out since he has no idea what's going on. Later, when the two women leave to get him some soup, Kazuya looks in the mirror and realizes that he didn't survive the attack and has reincarnated as Cain, the 3-year-old son of the noble von Silford family. We then find out about the members of the Silford family. Garm and Sarah are his parents, and he also has a sister named Rain. He also has two half-brothers, Jin and Alec, and a stepmother. Sylvia gets him up to speed about what's been happening since he went into a coma. She tells him that he could become a wizard when he grows up and get rid of the monsters with swords and magic. Excited, Cain wants to try magic immediately, but Sylvia reveals that he can only do that after he turns 5 and gets baptized. In the meantime, he should learn the basics. Cain takes this opportunity and starts learning about magic while also trying to use it. 2 years pass quickly, and finally, the day has come when Cain gets baptized. His father tells him even more about the levels of magic that range from 1 to 5. Soon they get inside the temple and the ritual begins. Suddenly, Cain notices a bright light behind the god's statue and gets transported into the world of the gods. They introduce themselves and reveal that his death was an accident. He wasn't supposed to die yet. Instead, the robber was going to get arrested after tripping. Later, each of the gods gives him their blessing, and Cain returns to the temple. Garm is eager to discover his status, but Cain runs out to see his stats before showing them to anyone. To his shock, his stats are maxed out at 10, meaning he has an S rank despite being only 5. Fortunately, the gods gave him a status conceal option to hide his stats. At his birthday dinner, Garm is shocked to see Cain's status is powerful for a 5-year-old and tells him to hide it from the world. Back in his room, Cain notices a book on summoning magic, so he decides to summon something fluffy, but unfortunately, a demon shows up. The demon is about to attack his sister and a cat girl when Cain rushes to stop it. He casts his flame magic and jumps on top of the beast, but the demon punches him. He gathers his courage once again and casts a spell that sends the demon back. During that, he gets knocked to the ground. The girls start crying until they realize he's not injured. His sister smiles while hugging him, making him realize he can be their savior. Later at the banquet, he reveals his wish to become an adventurer. Garm hires 2 D-rank adventurers as tutors for Cain, a swordsman Millie and an elven magician Nina. Cain overpowers Millie in a mock battle and later shows Nina a few magic tricks he learned from a book. Cain immediately masters every new spell Nina shows him. The teachers struggle to teach him as Cain has level 10 blessings from the gods of war and magic and is superior in skill to the level 3 Millie and Nina already. As he is only lacking in practical experience, the 2 teachers ask for Garm's permission to take Cain into the wilderness since he might ruin the mansion. There, Cain can finally cast magic with his full strength and ends up destroying a large stone with a medium-level fire. At this point, the teachers are convinced that Cain is a super genius. Soon, they suddenly hear the sound of a monster approaching and Cain immediately kills it. He then collects the materials in his magic box. The 2 teachers are envious of Cain's magic box and express their wish to buy one too. They continue hunting monsters in the wild with Cain until a monster flees to the nearby forest. The teachers stop him from following the monster into the jungle since it might be dangerous. Hearing this, Cain decides to become stronger and take adventures in the forest. Later, Cain finds out that after hunting just a few monsters, he has jumped straight to skill level 8 as one of his blessings gives him 100 times more experience points than normal. The next day, while getting permission from guild receptionist Rudy for Cain to hunt stronger monsters, but since Cain is still so young, he cannot register as an adventurer for the time being. That's when suddenly C-rank adventurers harass the two teachers and mock them for babysitting Cain. Seeing this, Cain beats him up. Time passes by and Cain takes several different adventures with the two teachers. 3 years pass by quickly and Cain is now 8 years old. Meanwhile, Nina and Millie's employment contract is about to expire. Cain hunts dangerous monsters in the jungle to craft them valuable thank you gifts. However, he doesn't realize that using his flashy magic might cause panic in the city. Garm leads the army to the forest to hunt down monsters when he finds Cain's handkerchief in the jungle. On the other hand, Millie and Nina are touched by the magic bags that contain a magic space as large as a castle. The teachers are very grateful to Cain as they give him kisses. The episode comes to an end with Garm confronting Cain about his shenanigans and thoroughly lecturing him for scaring the citizens. After a 2-year time skip, we find Cain is now 10 years old and is fighting a strong dragon alone. Cain is stunned to see that his stats are now at a very high level and that he has received the title of being an enemy of all monsters and dragon killer. At the age of 10, as a noble, Cain is sent to the royal capital for his debut into society. On the way, they might encounter danger because there are many monsters nearby, which is why they are protected by knights. During the journey, Cain uses his search skill and detects a battle nearby. Using his boost skill, Cain flies to the battlefield and kills monsters attacking the carriage with Duke Eric's daughter Lady Silk and Royal Princess Telestia. He then heals the wounded soldiers with his healing magic. Princess Telestia and Lady Silk walk out and they express their gratitude to Cain before developing a crush on Cain. As they lean on his shoulders, they eventually leave for the capital. At night, the girls overrule Garm's objections and force Cain to sleep in their room every night for the week-long journey. Cain is so on edge since he doesn't sleep all week. The next day, they eventually reach the capital, and the head of the knights in the capital sees Princess Telestia and Lady Silk holding Cain's hand and feels strange until he finds out that Cain saved the two girls. Later, Cain returns Telestia's dead soldiers and earns gratitude from Vice Captain Dareem. Telestia's father, King Rex, rewards Cain with 10 platinum coins and a mansion and promotes him to Baron, despite the objections of some nobles who think that Cain is too young to receive such a reward. Later, Cain and Garm meet Rex and Eric in private, and after thanking him once again, they insist Cain get engaged to both Telestia and Silk. This is because both the girls are smitten with Cain, let alone the fact that they shared bedrooms with Cain. This means that Cain is now the only man they can marry Princess Telestia and Lady Silk without any scandal. Pressured from all sides, Cain shyly agrees to the engagements. Cain consults the gods about his status. That's when they reveal that his stats are quite inhuman, which means he is now the strongest human, and that if he becomes any stronger, he will become a demigod, a holy beast, or a divine dragon. They remind him no matter what his stats are, there are limits to what he can or cannot do, and that he shouldn't test his limits. After the consultation, the gods reveal that the realm is so starved for entertainment and ask him to introduce Japanese entertainment to the world. Later, while Rain and Sarah are busy shopping, Cain visits Parma, a cat girl he knew since childhood who works at her uncle Tarminus' store. Tasmania agrees to produce a reverse-eye board game through his trading company, and Cain gives him a gold coin that he can use to fund the project. Once Cain comes out of his shop, he finds Rain waiting for him. She wanted to show him the clothes she bought. Later, by signing a contract before Panem, the god of commerce, their business deal is guaranteed for 3 years. The debut ceremony arrives, and since their engagements are still secret, Cain has to pretend to meet Silk and Telestia for the first time. Cain gifts Rex with an extravagant reverse-eye board that he created in collaboration with the Saracane Company. Rex finds reverse-eye entertaining and asks Cain to meet him after the ceremony. Next, Garm asks Cain about the reverse-eye board, and he reveals that he came up with the idea of the game to raise money for his new mansion. Hearing this, Garm feels proud of his son. Later, while Cain and Lady Silk are busy talking, Marquis Corgino's spoiled son Habit attempts to woo Silk, but she ignores him. In retaliation, he and his friends try to bully Cain with their level 1 magic spell, but fail miserably. Frustrated, Silk reveals Cain is a full baron, forcing Habit and his friends, mere Viscount sons, to apologize. To keep everything secret, Silk and Telestia convince Cain to take them out on a date. That's when suddenly, Rex overhears their conversation and once again lectures Cain for being a womanizer. The episode ends with Cain and Rex playing reverse eye. Cain receives the key and the map to his new mansion. Cain follows the map and reaches his mansion only to find it run down and neglected. However, Cain uses his magic and gets it cleaned and repaired within seconds. Once the mansion looks brand new, Cain hires Sylvia, 3 maids, and a butler named Colin. Later, Cain's parents visit his mansion, and although it looks tidy, Garm comments that it lacks decoration. That's when Cain takes out a stuffed huge dragon as a decoration that scares everyone. Garm advises Cain to throw a party for other nobles to acknowledge his new baron title. Cain decides to craft fine glassware as gifts and teaches the chef to prepare steak, a common dish in Japan. Besides that, he also makes sparkling wine. Later, the king summons Cain, asking him why he didn't invite him to his mansion. Cain has no excuse, so he apologizes and then formally invites the king. The nobles are surprised that Cain keeps a taxidermy Calamity-class red dragon as a trophy. All the guests, including the king, are also surprised by the sparkling wine. Apparently, they have never tasted this wine, nor have they ever seen such good-looking glassware. The guests are pleasantly surprised when Cain announces that the glassware will be given to them as a gift. Rex is particularly fond of the glasses and the alcohol. Just then, Marquis Corgino arrives and starts insulting everyone. His manners are appalling as he criticizes the food and demands he should be given all the glassware as a gift. Cain does not want to argue with a man like Marquis, so he tolerates the Marquis' rudeness, but he is very well aware of the fact that the only person who can keep the Marquis in his reins is none other than the king. Upon finding out that the king is attending the banquet as well, the Marquis immediately kneels down to apologize for his rudeness before leaving. However, Rex finds out that Cain used him as a pawn against the Marquis, so he loudly lectures him for 2 hours on how a son-in-law should properly treat his father-in-law. Cain meets Vice Captain Diem to drop off some monster materials in a room as advised by the Prime Minister, but Cain claims that the room is a little too small. Diem is shocked to see all the dead bodies and comments that these monsters are so powerful that only the army can defeat them. He later asks Cain to attend a knight's training session to guide the training. Later, Diem introduces Cain to Viscountess Tijuana and tells her that Cain is the new baron who defeated the monster alone and saved the princess. That's when she asks to duel him. Initially, Cain fights to a draw, but later in the fight, Cain shows his real strength and defeats her.
英雄カイン男爵ですよ。
お前がオーク30体を殲滅したならば私と決闘しようビルトクロックアップこれで終わりです。
After the duel, she proposes to Cain for marriage and drags him to discuss it with Rex. The king reminds Tijuana that Cain is already engaged to Princess Telestia and Lady Silk. Upon being asked, Tijuana reveals that she fell in love with Cain because Cain defeated her. This makes Rex wonder how a small boy managed to defeat the strongest knight in the kingdom, so he starts suspecting that Cain might be the legendary hero. To test Cain's true identity, he orders the minister to bring an ancient royal magic book. Turns out that the book is written in Japanese, which means that no one except the first king could understand it. A few days later, the vice captain again invites Cain to meet the king, who then hands a book to Cain and asks him to read it. Cain is forced to admit to being a reincarnation from Japan, blessed by all 7 gods, but insists on keeping this secret from the public and maintaining his current lifestyle. To his surprise, Rex accepts it. Meanwhile, Tijuana receives her father, Lei San's, approval to marry Cain. Rex feels confident Cain will make a fine future king of Esfort. Later, Kane is lectured by Princess Telestia and Lady Silk for seducing every woman he meets. With this, the episode comes to an end. If you're interested in finding out what happens in the next, then let me know in the comment section if you want a part 2. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.